Orale.
What's going on, man? How are you this evening?
Well, you know, you know, you know what time it is.
I know what time it is, but why don't you let everyone else know?
Oh, for real?
Oh, for real, you get it.
Woo. Mm. Let me get ready. Let me get my blankie on. Mm. It's time for Keeping It Real with Big Boy Live with your boy Professor X coming at you live and real, uncut, unchopped up, unscrewed. Big Boy Live. What up, man?
Man, that was a hell of an introduction. Nice job.
So what's going on, man? How you
Oh,
feeling?
not too much. Just finishing up another night at the good old hellhole, and just had a lot of crazy dumb petty stuff happen today, and man, it just frustrated me so hard.
Yeah, I feel you on that one. I feel you on that. It's never easy, ain't it? Never just a simple day.
Nah, never, never. But that's the thing. It's like, man, most days are just fine. But man, when petty stuff starts happening, it's like you cannot wait to get out of there just as quickly as you possibly can.
I feel you, man. It's just like you can't. I can't remember the last time I had just a straight day where it was just like just cool and calm and collected. You know what I mean? There's always
Right.
something, always something. But hey, it's called life, right?
Oh yeah, I mean that's just part of it. It's welcome to adulting. If you don't like it, you're shit out of luck.
Yeah, yeah. I
I
work on
mean,
that note.
it's really that simple. Honestly, it's like you either deal with it or you off yourself. You fucking coward. You know,
Yeah,
that's simple.
that's just what it is. A lot of people just don't know how to deal with situation, deal with stress, you know. And that's the thing about it. That's being able to like be able to deal with the stress and deal with what's going on around you in life and stuff, and not let it affect you so hard to where it makes you make bad decisions. That's actually a talent, man. That's actually a gift, you know. A lot of people can't do that.
Yeah, it makes you get to the point where you get so jealous of the ones that can. You're like, you start to hate that person because they know how to deal with it, and you're like, this shit.
Well, the thing about it though, it's all about being humble too, you know.
Yeah, but yes, man, don't do that.
Hard.
You
And it's
did
hard
it
to do that too.
right, but man, you just brought up a whole nother topic in the subject of humility. Like, I mean, that's dude. That is honestly, I would think the one of the top five things for human beings in general to do is to be humble. I, it, humble,
Well, heck, next to patience, that's the next thing too. Patience. That's another thing that's hard for people to do.
right? You want me to have patience and you want me to have humility when the nature of man is to go against when they had all that back in the Garden of Eden.
Hmm.
Uh, so yeah, you can lay it down that simple, but like we have proven time and time again, is anything really ever that simple?
No.
Nope.
Well, like the thing about it, people talk about how they are just like people can't deal with deal with change in scenery and change in general. people find it difficult to do, which is it is difficult, man. I mean, I dealt with it today.
Right.
With me being I'm off work for 5 days, and it's like I don't know what to do with myself because it's like I'm used to being on the routine and just going to work and coming home, and now with that change in atmosphere, now it's like it's like what you don't you get lost, you get confused,
Hmm.
that's what happens when you get so domesticated, and then when something changes in the atmosphere, it's like it just shakes everything up.
No, what you're referring to right then is being taken out of your comfort zone.
Take down your element.
Right, but see, you get so used to only being in your home for X amount of time, and you
Right.
get used to being at work for X amount of time. And when something comes along and disrupts that routine that you develop, it takes you outside of your comfort zone because you've become comfortable with
Right. Exactly. That's exactly right. I mean, because now I got yes, and the sad thing about it though is like there's always stuff to do. Like I got plenty of stuff to do at the house to take care. I got plenty of stuff to clean. I got plenty. I mean, I'm looking at stuff right now that I can be doing. You know what I'm saying to do.
what you just
Yeah.
don't want to.
Well, it's just like when everyone is off work for COVID, for shutdown, for that when the whole country shut down for months and months and a lot of
Right.
people took advantage of that and took care of a lot of projects in the house and stuff. A lot of people had projects they could do, but they may only did like a couple of them out of the 15 they could have done. So yeah, it's a real thing though, man. I mean, it's a real thing.
Yeah, it was just readjusting in general. Like I said, it's the interruption of the routine. And once you get so used to that routine, when it gets interrupted and you have to, you know, um, basically go back to the drawing board and relearn a new living process, it's hard to do when you get used to something. It really
Right.
is. Because it's like, you brought up COVID and everything like that, when the whole country was shut down. And, like you and I have this exact same thing in common, but you know, we get used to literally working 12 hours a day, 5 to 6 days a week, every week, and having very little time for us outside of that place. And it's like that becomes our lifestyle. That becomes what we're accustomed to. And then when all that happened and you had 12 extra hours of your day to fill that wasn't being filled by the job, it it proved, pretty difficult. It took me, honestly, I would have to say probably a month and a half to adjust to that routine of not working because, what was it? How how long were we down? Wasn't it almost 3 months or something like that?
Yeah, almost 3 months. Yeah, almost 2, 3 months. Yeah, I think we were.
But see, I got used to that routine, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just want to finish the thought before I forgot it. But I got used to that routine, and then when it came time for us to go back to work, I was pissed because I had gotten used to a routine. You see what I'm saying? And then
Right.
I had to go back again and relearn the old pattern. Well, it didn't take long, but when you actually got a taste of life outside of that place, you wanted to have that life.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Well, you're exactly right though, because like when you did go back to work, not only you have to readjust to that pattern that you was normally on, you have to readjust to all the new rules and new this and that you have to do on top of readjusting going back to work. You know what I'm saying? Like, had to go back to work, you had to wear a mask, had to wear a certain mask. I mean, you had to do this and that. You can't do this and that. So not only was you getting the whammy of just going back to work and we had to readjust and relearn everything, you had restrictions. They had to adhere to your lifestyle in order to work.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't so it was more than just the fact you had to make adjustments and stuff. You basically you go to your break room and you're on this glass cubicle type deal because you can't be next to somebody. I mean, just all these certain things you had to do just in order to work, which
Yeah.
made things different. So knowing that, it was, I mean, if you think about it, it was a traumatic experience for the for the human body and the human mind, you know, for just to go for all that stuff happening. So,
Bro, you want to talk about that though? Honestly, have you ever thought about this? You think about all the changes and everything that we've had to make because of COVID and the fact that, when you do go to work, pretty much everywhere you work, you wear a mask.
mm-hmm.
Have you ever stopped to think how crazy it is at the fact that we have forgotten what each other look like under that mask we wear because we wear them around each other all the time,
Exactly.
when we're on the job. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
I saw you without your mask the other day and I was like, man, I forgot he looked like that.
Mm-hmm.
One of my workers saw me without my mask tonight, and she goes, holy crap. She said, I forgot you look like that. I was like, yeah, I know. This is why I wear a mask.
But I mean, you're exactly right, though, man. I mean, we have been so used to everybody having half their face covered up that we just tend to forget what people look like, what people physical features are, stuff, and all you see is just eyes, the eyes and hair, and that's about it. But you tend to forget because you're just not used because your body adjusts to seeing that over the face so much because you're at work for so long, and then and people you don't see on a normal basis, you see them without a mask at Walmart, this and that. You adjust to that. But people you work with, yeah, it's very rarely see people without a mask on, and we do see somebody without a mask on. It's like it's crazy. It's a shock.
Yeah, because a lot of the things that people don't touch on or they don't, work or think about is the fact that the people you work with, especially when you spend so much time with them, they're kind of like your family, whether you guys
Right.
get along or not. They're still kind of like your family. Um, and it's crazy, the fact that, I've personally been working there almost 6 years. And some of the people that, I've known in the entirety of time of myself being there, I forgot what they look like. I was like, wow. I saw my supervisor a couple days ago walking back inside the building, from lunch. And I looked at him and I was like, holy crap, you have a face. And he just started laughing at me. He was like, you're retarded. But no, I mean, it was literally that. It was literally that shocking. It was like, I forgot you had a face.
The thing about it, though, what's crazy about that, it's not even just a mask. Like, everybody knows me for wearing a hat all the time, right? Every day. I wear a hat.
I felt that. You and I are both those two dudes.
Yeah, I always wear a hat every single day. And then and then when I get haircuts and I don't wear a hat, everybody's like, I know you had hair. It's like,
Right.
so yeah, it is a shock, when we get so used to seeing a certain thing a certain way, and all of a sudden the change in the matrix makes a change, and it's like, whoa, hold up here, it's a glitch,
Right.
There's
Bro,
more.
like I said, man, I worked there almost 6 years. And I would say in the entirety of time of me working there, I would say there's been maybe a grand total of a week's time that I've worked where I showed up without a hat on. And dude, people did not know who I was without a hat on
Right.
because, you know, anybody who knows me, anybody that works with me knows that there are always two hats on my head and they both read Ohio State.
Right.
There's one white one, there's one black one. It's that simple. Um, and it's like everybody knows that, you know. And that's funny that you say that, you know, because it just goes back to what I said, you know, part of the routine. We even have routines with people that we know. You know, we get used to certain things that they do, certain mannerisms that they have, certain things that they say, certain ways that they act. And then when they act different than that person, it blows our mind because we're like, I don't know who you are.
Exactly.
It's that Kevin Hart line. I went to the bank and there was a problem with my check-ins and my savings, and I don't know what to do. It's
Right.
that Kevin Hart line. Like that's the mentality that we develop. It's like you said, a glitch in the matrix. It's crazy.
You're like I said, it's crazy. I mean, it's exactly how it is. I mean, I very rarely ever not wear a hat. I just like it's generally. I mean, and it's little. It's like little stuff like that that like I will literally if I walk outside without my hat on, I literally start freaking out because I have my hat. So I got to go back in the house and give me prepare one.
That's right, everybody. Thank you for listening into the podcast. This is your boy, Big Boy. This podcast is brought to you and sponsored by Terra Jersey Enterprise. Terra Jersey Enterprise will hook you up with some custom shirts. Also, Terra Jersey Photography, capturing your moments of today to make them last for a lifetime. But like I said, this podcast is brought to you by Terra Jersey Enterprise.
We are back. We are back from the commercial break. And then this is a recap what we were talking about. We're just talking about how certain changes could affect us when we're on this certain routine for a while, and how people can notice those changes when they're so used to you seeing you on a certain look or a certain way or certain doing things, and then when something changes, it freaks everybody out.
You know what's crazy, dude? I'll give you an example of that, honestly. Um, so I've talked about my mom a couple times on the show. Um, my mom lives in Missouri. She lives in the state of Missouri. So I don't see her very often. Not like I
Right.
used to, right? So, but when I go home, um, excuse me, when I go home to visit and she sees me, if I show up without a hat on, it takes her a minute to know who I am.
Right.
She, you know, just touching back on that, like even my mom, even after all this time, even the fact that, you know, we see each other, you know, maybe 2, sometimes 3 times a year, she still expects to see me with a hat. And when I'm not in a hat, she looks at me and she goes, okay, I mean, I know you, but it's weird.
Right.
And
Right.
it's so funny though, because the transition of my life, like from the time I was, you know, born, I guess, up until the time I was probably 10 years old, I never wore a hat. I turned 11 years old and I've worn hats the rest of my life ever since.
Interesting. But that's how it is, though, man. I mean, you go through you go through a phase. Sometimes these phases just stick, and you just can't get out of it. but that's part of life.
You know the main. You want to hear something funny? You know the main reason why I hated high school so much? I had to take my hat off.
Oh man,
That's what I'm saying though. Like, man, I got so used to wearing hats. Like I wore them all the time, everywhere I went, everything I did. The only time I didn't wear a hat was on Sundays when it was church time. You know,
right.
And then throughout the week, you had to take your freaking hat off at school. And God, it made me so mad because I hated getting up and fixing my hair when it wasn't cut the right way or when I wasn't able to style it the way that I wanted or anything like that. It goes back to that young, dumb
Right. I think that's what the theme of this podcast episode today is, just how routines and normalization of what we do every day can get suddenly changed by something little, and we just don't know how to react to it.
Isn't it amazing that something drastic and something completely life altering can happen in our lives and we handle it literally in stride?
Right.
But something so small as leaving a bottle of pop in the console of the car overnight can just send us completely over the edge.
Right.
We just lose ourselves. We completely forget about anything and everything that is important, the actual literal things that matter. And we completely immerse ourselves in this one tiny little problem. But then something huge can flare up, life altering, life changing. And somehow we manage just to take it in stride. Have you ever stopped to wonder why that is? Have you ever actually stopped to think about that? Like, why are we so much better at handling big things than we are little things?
Because that's a lot.
I have my own opinion.
Well, a lot of time that's all we've been headed was big issues in life. So, and we have to learn how to deal with big issues all the time. And then when it comes to little small stuff, we don't know how to deal with it because we never have been taught to deal with the small things first, or been given the small things first to learn how to deal with those. We always been handle big things from early on to life until now. I mean,
you know what my thought on that is, though, opinion wise? I think, dude, that we go through as much little stuff as we do, losing our minds, blowing up, doing and saying things in a way that it's like, oh my God, there's no need to react to this tiny little thing in that situation. I think we go through all of that with the small things so that when the big things do pop up, we're able to handle it better. We're more
that's understandable.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's just my thought process. That's how I think, that we're wired. I think maybe that's just something that we're just supposed to go through in order to handle big things, massive changes, and dare I say, grow in life.
You know, the thing about it though is it's like when you go through things so much, you get numb to situations. Yeah. But like to another person, it's life altering.
Yeah.
Like for instance, I'm not sure what your background is, but for me, say for instance, I go out of town to a rough area where it's a norm, or a third world country where it's norm just to see a dead person on the side of the street, and to just walk over it, walk over them. But to me, I'd be like, oh my goodness, a dead person. Is somebody going to do something about this? But as far as normal society, it's a norm thing for them. It's nothing to them. They just walk around it. Oh, it's a dead homeless man. he died in his sleep. This is normal. The police gonna come pick him up and this and that. But somebody that's not used to seeing that, it's a life altering experience for them.
But that goes back to exactly what the whole conversation has been about. It's just been about routine, been about
Right.
what you've grown up around, what you're accustomed to, what you learned, what you're taught from the environment that you're raised in. You know, and if you're raised in an environment like that, like you said, it's just normal. Like
Right.
it's normal for people like us to think that, you know, I'm gonna get a little deep for a second, but it's normal for um, people like us to think that abortion and you know things of that nature are wrong, right? It's normal for us to think that because that's what we've been educated with. That's what we were educated with for a very, very, very long time before, you know, liberalism gained more popularity. We were accustomed to that. And I think it's just one of those things where it's like as enough time passes, you start to learn from trial and the error, the mistakes. I just personally believe that going through all of the small crap prepares you for the big crap.
Right.
I just believe that.
And I agree with that. I mean, it's like everything is the same everywhere you go, just a different form of it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like another example is like we know as far as being like up here, Indiana, Illinois, Kentucky, you know, stuff like that, Missouri. You know that when we see deer and stuff, we know how big they are.
Mm-hmm.
But when you go down south, like Florida and all that stuff, like when I was down in Florida and I seen deer, they're not as big as they are up here as it is down there.
Right.
Because it's like you said, it's the environment. So
yeah, I mean oh man, whew, you did it. I got to do it. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's because of the environment. It's because of what they were brought up in. It's because of what they were raised in. It was because of learned habits and learned traits that they were taught from the environment that they lived in, to the point where their bodies developed those learned traits and adjusted to it and did everything of that nature to where it completely altered and restructured their own DNA sequence. And
that's just like with people. I mean, it's like with people.
You got me. That's exactly what I was getting ready to say, and you knew it.
I mean, look at. I mean, like for instance, like for football and sports and stuff. Like when you look at, like for instance, players from Georgia Bulldogs and Alabama, but when you look at like their size compared to the guys from Ohio State or Michigan or IU, it's a big size difference there.
Yeah,
because of the environment or what they eat. Like I said, the corn fed down there in the South. You know what I'm saying? Like I see some girls. I was watching this softball tournament. I mean, I was at the bar watching the softball tournament, and these girls are playing. It was Alabama versus Florida. And dude, these Alabama girls, these girls are huge, 6 foot tall, thick. I mean, thicky thicks. I mean, they look good, but they were thicky thick. Like they look like some shacks out there.
Easy boy. This is a family show.
But what I'm getting at though is you are a product of your environment, and it shows. But it depends on what product of the environment you're going to be fit in. Makes a difference too.
There you go. I was waiting on you to say that. But see, ultimately, you're exactly right. We are always, our environment is always a part of who we are. Still to this day, it's still the foundation of what laid everything. But you have to be able to take the good, the positive, and filter it away from the bad and the negative of everything else that you've gone through and build your foundation that way. Because if you can't, you're going to turn yourself into an extremely stressful, extremely anxious, and an extreme negative naysayer. Pessimism is not an attractive thing, ladies and gentlemen. It really isn't, being pessimistic. But we can honestly fix that if we would help each other.
That's true. You know, and like I say, you're exactly right with the fix of helping each other, but also too, just taking the time just to learn about each other. That right there would make a big difference. You know, if someone just took the time, if someone like me say, I'm taking the time, and I'm gonna get to know Jake Wade. And once you learn more about that person, you can understand that person, where they come from, and then you see them in a different light.
Yep.
And that's the problem. We're such in a rushy rush society. How about this? Perfect metaphor. We're so much on a microwavable meal society that we can't take the time to learn to make make things with love.
Right.
We just want to stick it in the microwave, put it on for 2 or 3 minutes, and go about our day. But it's not like how it was when grandma was in the kitchen and she'll spend 3-4 hours making food with love, and it'd be so good. I mean, you was patient with it because you knew that it's gonna be good. Grandma won't whip it up. But now we're in a society where this is what I was looking for. We're in a TV dinner world. Gotta have it now.
This is the part where I'm going to go, hey, man.
And it's got so bad. It's about everything, though, man. It's like, not knocking anybody that does this, but like, I was at my buddy's house, I was watching the game, and he ordered beer. He had beer delivered to him. It's like the Grubhubs and DoorDashes and all that. So they have a delivery service called Drizzly that you can order your beer and they'll deliver it to you. Hey, we're taking sponsorships for Drizzly or Econ, Grubhub, Uber, anything. We will promote you on the Big Boy Live podcast.
Hell yeah, I'll even be a customer.
Hey, I mean, me too, but like I said,
hit me up, Drizzly. Hit me up. I got you.
For real. But it's just a perfect example of how we're in such a lifestyle now to where it's more about convenience and bringing to me. You know, we don't want to do the work no more.
Right. And that's what's made society so lazy. Is everything has become so easily accessible. I mean, oh my God, you no longer have to be responsible for your own actions behind the wheel of a car because we now have cars that self-drive themselves.
Exactly.
Like, are you kidding me? We are literally stripping ourselves of responsibilities for our own actions by automating everything around us to take care of us. Hello, Skynet. Terminator 2 Judgment Day. It's coming, guys. Get ready.
Man, I was just talking to somebody about that. It's just like that movie Gamer. Remember movie Gamer?
Yeah.
Where you sit in a big old pie and you basically had an altered lifestyle. And everybody was on there just all huge and stuff and this and that. Because you just stayed in your room on this thing. You live this alternate lifestyle, making you very high, what you want to look like, this and that. I mean, it's got to the point that's where it is. Like, literally now, you don't have to even leave your house to do anything anymore. If you need groceries, you go on Amazon, go on Walmart Plus, wherever it is. You'll take the sponsors for Walmart Plus and Amazon. Doing it all. What I'm saying is, it's a great service. I use Walmart Plus before. It's pretty nice. But you go in there, you get all your groceries delivered to you, or you just go to Walmart and they pick it for you. It's like an Amazon, and they put it in your vehicle, and you go home. Like, you don't have to go inside and deal with people, which is, and it's just crazy.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're right. I got nothing to say about that except this. That's because we have become a nation, a people, a world of extreme compromise. And what I mean by that is we've compromised our beliefs, we've compromised our background, we've compromised our upbringing, we've compromised our beliefs in ourselves, we've compromised what we are willing to take and tolerate in relationships. We have compromised the way that we love and or raise our children. We have compromised the foundation of what we were brought up on to begin with. Like, exactly. I can keep going, but that is it in a nutshell. When you become a nation of people, a person of compromise, when you start compromising your own belief system in order to make somebody else happy, in order to win the approval of others, in order to get that election seat, whatever the case may be, when you start doing things of that nature, you die to parts of yourself that you do not understand at the time. You will never get back.
It's like when they say when you're selling your soul.
Exactly. That's exactly right. You know, you're selling your soul, you're selling yourself, you're selling the parts of you that you're absolutely never going to recover. You're giving yourself away because it makes you feel better currently in the moment. And it's a Band-Aid for what you're going through. And it's a cover to cover you up so you don't have to see the ugliness within inside of yourself. But when you strip all of that off and actually deal with it, accept things for the way that they are, accept yourself for the way that you are. If you see things in yourself that you don't like, change them, man. Put forth the work. Do it. Like, don't give up on yourself, because listen, the easiest thing in the world is for us to give up on ourselves as people. The easiest thing to do is to give in to all the negative things that happen around you. Listen, if you are struggling, I've got you. If you need to talk, I'm always here. I've got 2 gigantic ears. I was built for listening. Even though the irony of the situation is I'm starting to lose my hearing already, I was still built for listening. I'm here. I've got you. Come talk to me.
And people out there in the podcast, the audience, he is not lying. He does have big ears. But
you jerk.
But it's true though, man. Like, people
I know.
so,
you're right. It is true. I do have big ears.
Well, no, you make a good point though, man. People are just afraid people are so afraid to talk to somebody because they don't want, because they're scared to trust somebody, which society has made it hard to trust people because you don't know. You don't know who you can't trust anymore, because we've been hurt so much by people or things or society itself that it makes us build up these big walls to where we can't trust anybody anymore. I mean, it got to a point now where the places that people that you supposed to have trust in, you start to lose that trust. I mean, there was a time where you can trust. Not saying this is how all people are, but there was a time how you can always trust going to your preacher and stuff and talking to them. Now these days you don't even know no more because they're not even living right.
Yep.
So
yeah, you're right, dude. That's a good point, man. Drive that one home real quick. That's that's good.
So I mean, it got to the point to where, because that's how it was back in the day. Back in the day was when you needed somebody to talk to, you needed counsel. You didn't want to go to a therapist. Who you go to? You go to your local preacher, or you go to your pastor, and they talk to you, and you go through your Bible, and you just talk, and they help you. Now these days, there's a very few pastors that are still living the right way to where you can talk to them. But now, little boys and kids are can barely go to church because they're afraid they might get molested or something. You can't trust your people supposed to be leading you. It's just sad, bro, how society has become.
But man, that goes back to exactly what we touched on earlier, man. It's sad where we've become, but it's only because we've compromised so much. We've changed stuff so much. And don't get me wrong, please understand, I do know and recognize and realize that some things absolutely have to change. If we are ever going to reach God, this dream of equality that we keep claiming that we want, but we still keep doing everything we can to sabotage and not allow to happen. If we ever want to reach that goal, like, we gotta let it happen. We have to stop. We have to stop, not letting it happen.
Exactly.
We have to give our best efforts. We have to love our fellow man. Like, I get that not every person on the planet is going to like me. That's cool. I'm cool with that. I'm one of those people that I'm genuinely not affected by your opinion of me. There's a small circle, an elite few people whose opinions can touch me, sway me, make me feel blah, blah, blah. But if you're just a general person and you disapprove of me, I mean, honestly, just know that I really don't care.
Right.
But it doesn't mean that I want you to think of me that way.
Exactly.
I don't like the perception that you think you have of me by what somebody else has told you, or what you heard through the grapevine, or what you may have witnessed in one moment of interaction that we had together that wasn't so positive. Exactly.
I'm sorry.
Mm-mm.
That song got stuck in my head when you said grapevine. Heard it through the great. But it's true, man. I feel you. I feel you on that, though. Do you know another thing that burns my grits?
What did you just say? You burned your grits?
Well, I'm not saying. Do you want to know something else that burns my grits? The telephone game.
Oh, bro. Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. Before you get into that, we're going to take a quick pause for a word from our sponsors. We will be right back. Don't leave.
We are back. We're keeping it real, Big Boy Live. Big Boy Live. Ooh, yeah. So back when I was talking.
You started a brand new topic.
Oh boy, telephone game.
Right there at the end of the commercial break. So, taking us out of the gate in the third part of this segment, Big Boy, take her away.
Man, firsthand. It's the telephone game. Now, sorry for our listeners out there, you're probably wearing the telephone game. Let me explain to you what the telephone game is. If I tell Professor X that Bob, John, and Susie have an altercation, and the next thing you know, Susie tells Bob and Professor X and Susie about the altercation they had, and then Bob tells Susie and then tells it's never going to be the same information. It's called a telephone game because no one because the information is so misconstrued and from the original form that you can make the situation worse or make it unbelievable or make it even better, even though it's a lie or it's not accurate information.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I heard that so and so did this with so and so.
Right.
Oh, I heard that so and so did this with so and then so did this. And then it gets to the third one. Well, I hear that so and so did this together, and then they did this with two other people, and then this became that.
Right.
It's the evolution of the story. It's the evolution of what is ultimately the lie.
Exactly. I mean, and it's even worse when it comes to people that's not even was never around the situation. You know,
Let me ask you a question because I know where you're starting to go, but I think this is the interjection point. I think this is my one interjection point. Why do you think it is so hard for us to tell the truth and accept the truth as a society?
because a lot of times you want to look like the hero or be the guy that has the best story, or be the one that has the most audience and have the most information.
But I have a question. I have a question for you.
Okay.
What if you're not the hero? What if you have problems and you're real life and sometimes you're the villain? How are you supposed to handle it then?
Either you want to pass the buck off to someone else as being the bad guy to make yourself look good, or you just want to try to keep saying stuff here and there to try to make yourself look like you're not as bad as you feel like you are, or what people may perceive you to be.
So what I'm hearing you say is it's all based on the specific imagery you want to have of yourself at that moment. I think that's what I'm.
Yeah.
What are we willing to accept with ourselves as people? So see, this is where hindrance shows up. This is where true hindrance shows up whenever growth is trying to happen. Because the easiest thing to do is to stay exactly where you are.
Exactly.
You want that change in your life, then you are going to have to die to your old life. It's that simple.
Yeah. That's true. That is true.
You have to understand and realize, the compromises and things that you've done. You have to understand and realize who you are as a person in those situations, man. Like, if you are unwilling to accept yourself or look at yourself truly for who you are, how can you ever bitch, moan, complain, whatever terminology you want to use, if somebody else can't love you when you are incapable of loving yourself?
Mm-hmm. That's true. It's like you gotta come in, like you gotta literally you gotta sit your own self down and have a one-on-one conversation with yourself. Like, yo, bro, why are you doing this? And
Yeah.
ask those hard questions to your own self instead of having somebody else ask you those questions. Sometimes you gotta look yourself in the mirror and just ask yourself the question like, bro, what are you doing to you? So why are you making this situation so harder when it doesn't have to be this hard? When all you gotta do is just put this to this and this, but you want to do this, and this, and this, and this, and this stop. Like, and that's the problem. A lot of times people don't know how to self-examine themselves the correct way.
Isn't it funny how often we lie to ourselves? Like, the one person that we lie to the most in our entire lives, because everybody lies. Everybody lies at
All
some
right.
point.
Right.
But the person that we lie to the most is ourselves.
Exactly.
Tell ourselves, oh, this situation isn't really what it is. We tell ourselves, oh, I don't really have that. We tell ourselves, oh, I don't really need to budget for that this week. I'll just pay it next week. I'll just push it off. It goes back to compromise, man. Like we continue to be such a compromising society that we can't ever get ahead because we're too busy holding on to the past and lugging it with us. We don't know how to truly let go of the past. We don't know how to truly be free of a bad relationship or something that a parent did to us or
Right.
some traumatic event that we experienced along our growth. Like we just hold on to that stuff. And when people give us the easiest way and they give us the right advice on how to let it go, we ignore it because it's part of who we are. We are so accustomed to it. We just are not going to let that go. That is part of our baggage.
Well,
You
I'm
know what I
sorry.
mean?
Yeah, I'm sorry for cutting you off, man. I apologize.
No.
I mean, what you're saying is like a great point that like my pastor was talking about. He said he was talking about how don't bring in the new year with old year baggage. And that's the problem. We want to try to take our baggage with us in every single situation we go through, new, in a better situation. So we want to sit there and take our situations with us. And like, and we do this way too much, not realizing that sometimes when you take on too much baggage to the next situation you're in, it can make it worse. You know what I'm saying? And either that person that you're in the next situation with, or whatever case, or that thing, if that thing doesn't know how to be patient with you and patient with you, then next thing you know it, you could either push that situation off, all because of your past and your baggage, which is hard for us to let go.
Right, because what is the one thing we want to hold on to the most? Somebody who hurt us, somebody who did us wrong, somebody who did wrong by us, and whatever other way we could think to say the exact same freaking thing over and over again. Somebody hurt us. Okay, we got hurt as a people, and we want to hold on to it. Like that's just it. Like, and I'm at the point in my life, dude, finally, like, I never thought I would ever get to this point in my life. I really didn't. But I'm at the point in my life now where it's like, you know what, man? I did wrong by you. You did wrong by me. But regardless, I don't care. I don't care that we did because, we as a people, we're bound to make mistakes.
Exactly.
Like, I don't expect you to be perfect. Don't expect me to be perfect. And if you don't expect that, you're not let down when that person isn't perfect.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it goes back to what we talked about a long time ago. I mean, I think you brought this up. It was that we tend to hold people to a higher level, and we expect so much out of them, and then when they don't meet the expectation,
The
we get hurt.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
pedestal. You're right. Yeah, and yeah, you're absolutely right. Because it's like, I mean, dude, if people would just understand going into things like relationships, like, man, relationships are so simple. They really are. Because if you just realize one of two things at the very beginning of them, you're not disappointed either way. Number one, it's going to work out. We're going to be
Right.
together. Things are going to be great. We're going to chart our own path. We're going to make our own life. Or number two, it's not going to work out. We're going to be in each other's lives for a season because apparently there's something that we need to learn from this individual, and it's not going to work out. And we're going to move on. It's
Yep.
that easy. But we screw it up so many times to the point where it has now become acceptable to date as many people as you want to until you get it right.
Right.
We have literally turned the dating scene, the dating circle, into trying on a pair of clothes or putting on a new pair of shoes. Nah, man, I got this pair of shoes and it fits me great, and it's this, that, and the other. But I want the other 23 colors that this shoe comes in.
Exactly.
And at some point, when do you stop?
Right. I try to look at relationships like I try to look at like a boyfriend girlfriend relationship, this and that as like a boyfriend and girlfriend. I try to look at that as like a pre-engagement. You know what I'm saying? And then when you get engaged, that's your pre-marriage. Then when you get married, that's where it needs to be at. But and it's not like how old school relationships were, where people actually work things out and they stuck together. Now these days, marriages are just to a point now where they're only lasting for a week. It's like people don't take relationships serious. No one work things out. They want if something's not right, they want you to just fight about it or just leave instead of just tackling the situation and find out why this is affecting you this way. All right, let's see how we can work on that. So that way I can know next time not to come at you like that. I come at you in a different way because obviously you have some past hurt, so we need to work on that so we can help you get over that. Like, let's work together on this. But people don't want to people don't want to be patient and take the time to do that.
But you said it right there, man. You said it right there. It also completely ties in with the fact nobody wants to work together. Nobody wants to truly let every part of themselves out or show every part of themselves to a person. Because what happens when you do that? That person knows you so well. They know every which way that they can to hurt you. And who likes to be hurt? Nobody.
Oh,
Nobody. And that's what makes it so scary, man. It's just if we would realize that the scariest thing in the entire world are relationships and not hating each other, we would be a lot better off.
right. I mean, that's true.
But all right, so it's that time in the segment where we're gonna change topics. We're gonna shift gears. Real life talk. We keep it real all the time, but now it's question time. So I got a question for him, and I'm going to pose it to him right after this word from our sponsors, Terra Jersey Photography. We want to thank you guys for having our backs. We want to appreciate you for helping us keep our memories for a lifetime. And we will be back right after this commercial break.
That's right, everybody. Thank you for listening into the podcast. This is your boy, Big Boy. This podcast is brought to you and sponsored by Terra Jersey Enterprise. Terra Jersey Enterprise will hook you up with some custom shirts. Also, Terra Jersey Photography, capturing your moments of today to make them last for a lifetime. But like I said, this podcast is brought to you by Terra Jersey Enterprise.
All right, what's up, everyone?
What's up?
We are back. We are back. And welcome to this very deep edition of
Keeping It Real with Big Boy Live, the 4-quarter edition.
All right. So before we left for break, I told Big Boy we were going to switch everything up. I was going to pose a question to him. So we've touched on so many subjects tonight: compromise, routine, yada, 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 a bunch of different things. To tie in the final theme of tonight's podcast, I'm going to just simply ask Big Boy this question.
Uh-oh.
Music. What is your, not what society thinks, not what all time thinks, what is your personal favorite style of music to listen to? And with that, who are your top 5 artists and songs?
Well, I like a lot of music. You know what I'm saying? I love a lot of music. I like hip hop and R&B. I love my gospel music. I love country music. I love country. I love old school rock and roll. If I like, when it comes to old school rock and roll, I'm gonna say some, like a little bit of Jimi Hendrix. I like Jimi Hendrix. When it comes to R&B classics and stuff, I like some of the Al Green, Teddy Pendergrass, or even we're gonna go a little newer, a little bit Usher or Boyz II Men. When it comes to country music, I love Montgomery Gentry, a little bit of Hank. I'm very diverse.
Okay. All right, you're diverse. Well, you made it easier for me then. You made it easier for me to get my answer, because I know you have at least one of these across all those genres that you listed. So list me your favorite song from country, rock, R&B, hip hop, and gospel.
Okay. Well, on country, one of my favorite songs is "Where I Come From" by Montgomery Gentry. All right. Okay. So you said
that's a good song, bro.
Oh, yes. And my second favorite from Montgomery Gentry is "Tattoos and Scars."
Yep.
But I have to say, "Where I Come From" is one of my favorites. From R&B, you mean like new school R&B or old school R&B?
No. Your personal favorite song. It doesn't matter. Your personal favorite R&B song.
Okay. So my favorite R&B song would be a Boyz II Men, "Mama," because I love my mama.
Oh man, that's a good one, dude. Oh my God, that's a good one.
Yes. And then for rock,
Mama, you're the queen of my heart.
that's a song, boy.
It's like tears from the soul.
Man, woo.
Oh. Mama, I just want you to know, loving you is like food to my soul. We love you, Mama. We love you.
Yeah.
That was us to you. Thank you, Mama.
Oh yes. All the mamas out there, you're special and you're amazing. Rock, man, that's a tough one, man. Rock, that's a tough one. I do like that what's that song? Gosh, I think it's by Van Halen.
Huh?
I think it's by Van Halen.
All right. Well, there are several by Van Halen. Give me something and I'll help you out. It's my generation.
Oh, sweet child of mine. There you go. Woo.
That's Guns N' Roses.
Guns N' Roses. Guns N' Roses. Sweet child of mine. I like that song.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
The second from that would be Watchtower by Jimi Hendrix.
All right. Now it's hip hop and then gospel.
Hip hop, boy. Man, cannot go wrong with a little bit of Changes by Tupac.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Mad love, mad respect.
That's a real
Mad
song.
love.
That song's
Mad
a real
love.
song. That song was way before its time.
All right.
Like
Gospel.
Gospel.
Bring it home, baby. Bring it home.
No Weapons by Fred Hammond. No weapon formed against me shall not prosper. Yep.
All right. So, my turn. I'm gonna do the list backwards. Gospel. Third Day. King of Glory.
Nice.
That's my favorite. Oh, dear God. You want to talk about me and Jesus connecting real hard. We do real good on that song. Hip hop, man, again, for me, same artist as you. Pac. Yeah, God, such talent. Gone way too soon. Way too soon. I mean, what a waste. What a waste again of hatred. Just what a waste. It's so sad. But I would have to say that my Pac song is probably stalling because I don't remember the name of the song. Help me. How many brothers fell victim to the streets? Rest in peace, young nigga. There's a heaven for a Jeep. Be a lie if I told you that I never thought of death. We the last ones. Life goes on. Life goes on.
Life goes on.
That's it. That's my personal favorite by Pac. Hip hop. What was after hip hop? Rock?
Yes.
Okay, so rock for me, I would have to just say a band, because I don't think there was a better band in rock. Just for me personally, my opinion, Queen. Anything and everything by Queen. If you took rock away from me completely and left me Queen, I would be completely satisfied. I am a gigantic Queen fan, have been my whole life. Let's see. What was after that? R&B?
Yep.
Oh, R&B. Weak by SWV.
Oh,
good Lord. You want to talk about one of the saltiest and sexiest songs of all time.
I get so weak to my knees and I can't out of sleep and I lose all controls. Boy,
something takes hold of me in a state I feel so amazing. Yeah.
I'm right off of my feet.
And then country. As much as I hate to pick just one country song, I would have to say the one that I can listen to over and over again and always has meaning for me in some way, shape, or form. Good God, this is hard. I would say probably Almost Home by Craig Morgan. Just because I'm kind of an emotional person. I was raised in family ties and things of that nature, and it's just one of those ones that kind of really resonated with me. Um, Memories of my past, um, and things of that nature. So I would say "Almost Home" by Craig Morgan. If I had to pick just one, I that song touched my heart, man. It was amazing.
Tell you, man, very good choices. Very good choices. You know, and you know the thing about it though, you can tell a lot by a person what kind of music they listen to.
Right. And like I said, we could have broke this down more. I mean, if we could have went just straight R&B and this and that. And that's one of the things that we love the most about our show. It's just always open. Like we're just always so real. We bounce things back off of each other, back and forth constantly. And man, it's so much fun. Um, it's therapeutic for us, for the listeners that we do have. Man, we thank you guys so much. We thank you for sticking with us, being a part of this. Like this is just two real guys. I mean, two real guys with real heart, real life experience, and opinions. And that's all they are. They're just our opinions on things. We're not trying to force anything down your throat. We just appreciate you guys listening.
We know,
It's a lot of fun, and it's therapeutic for us as well at the same time.
you know the thing about it though too. When you brought up about the music thing, not only can you find out a lot about people what kind of music they're listening to, but also too, it really shows how society can be stereotypical about people just by the way they look and
Mm-hmm.
oh well that I bet you that guy would probably listen to rap music, but technically he may be he may love opera. You know what I'm saying? So we
Look,
use music to define people by on a visual appearance of them, which is not right. You know, people look at me and they don't think I listen to country music. I love country music.
right? Just
People,
like just like people look at me and they go, "This guy doesn't know a single thing about hip hop," and I can educate people on hip hop. You
right.
know this, you've seen it.
So that's just another thing out there, another thing that we can, push and teach people out there. Hey, people, you just don't know. You might find out that one guy that he may shock you and surprise you that you might have something in common. You may not have anything in common with him or her, but you have one thing in common, and that's the music you listen to. And that right
Yeah,
there brings down a whole nother friendship.
yeah, absolutely.
You just can't be
So,
afraid.
so
You just can't be afraid to get to know somebody.
yeah, but man, don't say that. Don't say that because we're about to have another real moment. You can't be afraid to meet somebody. It's so easy to say. It's so stereotypical. It's so cliched nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Can't be afraid to meet somebody, but yet we have listed previously in the podcast all the terrifying reasons why it is to meet somebody new.
Right.
Because you got to put yourself out there. Yeah, don't be afraid to put yourself out there, but hey, be afraid to put yourself out there because it's scary and you could get hurt. And as a society.
That's true. I mean, I consider myself a social butterfly. And I have no problem talking to people, but I have to like pick something off of them in order to talk to them about. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like for instance, if I would never met you and you say you had a Run DMC shirt on, so I'm like, oh man, oh you listen to old school rap Run DMC? There you go.
This
Sometimes
is my recital. I think it's very vital. To rock is right on time. That's right. It's tricky. Here we go. Here we go. Entry to rock around. It's all
but and it's what it is though. Like I mean,
Don't you
sometimes
throw Run DMC at me.
what I'm saying is sometimes you have to look at the props to help you break the ice, an icebreaker.
Yep. There you go. There you go. There's the word we've been looking for all night, icebreakers in conversations. And the problem is sometimes the icebreaker doesn't always go the way that you think or you want it to. And because of that, you don't ever try to talk to that person again.
Exactly. That's exactly right. I mean,
All right.
you would never
Yeah.
lie. You would never lie on that one, man.
No. And I'll never lie again, period. And that's just the thing. I won't lie to anybody. I will no longer make that compromise to myself. Like I
It's
lived
hard.
it. I lived it. I'm telling you, I have lived it for the last 20 years of my life. One compromise after another. The
Exactly.
last 20 years of my life. The time I left high school and world and real life became real life. One compromise after another. I am the poster child for that. I did things, I said things, I thought only of myself and not of others, and this and that, and blah, blah, blah. And dude, I made every mistake you could possibly make.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the poster child for it. But that's what we don't realize, man. Like, we are our own poster child. Who is our biggest enemy? Who is our biggest adversary? Ourselves.
Right. And we also are our biggest cheerleader too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, you ain't lying.
And I was telling somebody tonight. I was telling a buddy of mine that's going through some stuff, and I told him, I said, don't give up, dude, because the situations and life experiences that you went through that were negative, and you overcame that, and you're doing this and this and this and that now. Those can be great learning experiences for the next person that could be going through the same situation or a similar situation, and they can look at your story and be like, you know what, if he can do it, I can do it. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes the mistakes you make in life is actually can be a life-saving learning experience for the next person. You just don't realize it.
Right. Look, I've always told myself this one fact. If I can positively influence one person in my life, then my life was worth living.
Hey, that's what it takes sometimes.
I mean, seriously, if you can have a positive influence on just one person in your life, it was not a wasted life.
Exactly right.
And dude, that's again, man, that goes back to the thing that you were touching on. It's one of the things that it's like, it's so easy, but yet so hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'm gonna do something else to you now, just because we brought up the music, and now you got me in an R&B mood. So that's your fault. I know it was my fault. I asked the question. I know it was my fault because I asked the question, but it's your fault because of the answer you gave me, and I was like, so your top five favorite R&B songs, not society, not all time. What are your 5 favorite R&B songs, just right off the top of your head?
Okay. Candy Rain, Mama. I Like Weak. God, what's that one song? Back to One by Brian McKnight. And Incomplete by Cisco.
All right. For me, it is Members Only by Bobby Bland, Let's Stay Together by Al Green, Weak by SWV, Water Runs Dry by Boyz II Men, and I think I would have to say Mm. Sexual Healing by Marvin Gaye.
Nice. And my honorable mention, The Garden. Some people know what The Garden was.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, a little bit of Barry White, a little bit of. Oh, man, I was in
Yeah.
the
I don't know why. I
garden.
don't know why. I can't get enough of your love, baby.
But you know who we you know what artist you didn't we both there for R&B?
Huh.
Luther Vandross.
Look, I love me some Luther, but I was just saying my personal 5 favorites. And he ain't my top 5. And it's not a shot at him. It's not saying that he wasn't fantastic. But he's not my top 5 go-to. Now, do not get me wrong. Do not get me. Every minute and every hour, I feel the power of love. I can get down with some Luther. Don't worry about that. I love me some Luther, but my top 5, he's just not there. So
Right.
I'm going to shift you again because now this got real interesting because now we're really fixing to learn something about each other. Top 5 hip hop.
Wait, artist and a song.
Your personal favorite.
Artists
Your
or
personal
songs?
favorite. I would probably say like songs by the artist. Your top 5 songs that you like in hip hop.
Okay, well, it was all a dream. It was all a dream by Biggie. Like I said, Changes by Tupac. Rough Riders Anthem. That song always got me hyped. Rest in peace, all 3 of them guys. DMX, Tupac, and Biggie. Nas. That was a Nas song. It was a Nas song back in the early days. I forgot what it was. I think it had Lauryn Hill in it. And then that's 4. Man, hold up there. You know what? I like J. Cole. J. Cole, that song "Crooked Smiles." That's a good song.
That's good. That's real good. Let's see.
If I rule the world, by Nas. If I rule the world, yeah.
Bro, that's Lauryn Hill.
What Nas in that too?
No, I'd have to look that up. Honestly, I think that's Lauryn Hill and the Fugees, bro.
No, I think that was Nas too, man.
I don't know, man.
I think it was Nas featuring Lauryn Hill.
All right, it might have been. You may be right. No,
Because Nas had it was like the early '90s. Nas had that short haircut with the dual line on the side.
no, yeah. You're right.
I remember the video.
My hip hop. Oh man, God, this is hard. So Tupac gets 2 nods on this list. I'll just tell you that. I would say Life Goes On at 5 by Tupac. Juicy by Biggie at 4. Gravy by UGK at 3. Rest in peace, Pimp C. Gotta give him. Got to give him love. Got to give him credit. Stan by Eminem. And then I would have to say, ultimately, two of America's Most Wanted, Tupac and Snoop Dogg.
Oh, that's good. That's a good list.
He said, "Picture perfect. I paint a perfect picture with my hooches, with my decision. My intention to get richer with the essence of a Lopi. The homie used a cold ass nigga on the mall. Sure enough, I keep my hand on my gun when they got me on a run. Now I'm back on the coat room, waiting on the outcome. Afraid Tupac is always on his mind, but at the same time, he see me trying to take mine. So I'm gonna get smart and get the best of his shit and put together a million boys for some gangsters."
That's a good list, man. Very good list.
But yeah, man, like, music touches the soul. It's just a part of who you are, and it's so enjoyable. Thank you guys for coming out. Thank you for listening tonight. We appreciate everything. Much love. Big boy, closing thoughts. Take us off.
Well, hey, I think this podcast really really helped with the fact that it's nothing wrong with trying to not only better ourselves, but also too to try to help break down our own walls so we can get to know each other. And you'd be surprised on what you think you may be afraid of the next person. It actually may be something that you have something in common, and you have to take that time to do that. Like you said, icebreakers. We gotta learn how to use those icebreakers to be able to meet somebody and not be afraid that everybody's not gonna be the same as far as hurting you and this and that. Because not everybody's gonna hurt you. It's just a mental block that makes you think that everybody's there to hurt you when a lot of times they're not. So what I'm trying to say is, everybody, don't be afraid to go out there and expand your horizons. Leave your baggage at home. Learn how to get rid of that baggage. Because the more you carry that baggage with you, the more it can really hurt your future relationships, future. Jake?
Yeah. You're right. That's a good closing thought. I'm going to piggyback off of that with mine. I'm just going to simply say this. Stop trying to go out there and sabotage yourself. Trust me, the world is already out to sabotage you enough. It does not need your help in aiding it in sabotaging you. Try to trust in people. Try to believe. And remember that whenever everything sucks and everything seems like it's, a lost cause, a wit's end, get lost in the music, man. Get lost in the music. That's what it's there for. Music is therapeutic. It is therapeutic to the soul. Do not ever hesitate to always lean on the music. Take care of yourselves and each other.